VCT Kickoff is going to start very soon, and I physically cannot wait any longer. So here's a quick rundown of all the Pacific teams participating in the 2024 season, with also a quick recap of their 2023 run. To start us off, Bleed. The Ascension winner and new kid on the block, they had arguably the most dominant run in Pacific Tier 2, losing only 2 games out of 24 before winning Ascension. However, when they did have their first taste of Tier 1 Valorant during the Riot 1 Pro Invitational, it didn't go as well, losing to both Zeta and Navi, but winning against DFM. But come on, it's DFM. To be fair, they were missing one of their new players as they did make some changes after Ascension, with both Juicy and Neff, both incredible players in their own right, being forced out of Tier 1 due to age reasons and compulsory conscription respectively. But their replacements are evidently no joke, with Bleed picking up probably the best Singaporean free agent on the market in Egoist, and of course, Ye. After initially squandering the $1 million deal with Bleed at the start of 2023, and after we witnessed possibly the lowest of his lows during his stint with DSG, Ye comes crawling back to round off this insane roster. Don't get me wrong, okay? I still am a Ye believer, and with the old core of Crazy Guy, Scary and Darion, Bleed is definitely top 3. Let's just hope we see Optic Ye and not that Ye. Global Esports. After playing musical chairs with their team in 2023 and not having stellar results, they dropped all but one of their players and settled for a more sensible 5-man roster. Most of their players are mostly tier 2 talents such as Initiator player Blaze King, Duelist player Paul V and ex-Guild player as their IGL, Russell. The only remaining player from the old team is Lightning Fast, who only played 2 matches during the 2023 league and he didn't do that great. My initial impression of him came from when Global Esports faced off against PRX last year, and during the watch party, I thought he was just a downgrade from SK Rossi in every single way when he played during the second map, especially when Global Esports just got a game off of PaperX. Hopefully his performance during 2024 will make my impression of him change. And we have the reason why I care about Global in the first place, Bankai. It was devastating to hear when he'd get benched during Tokyo and eventually become a restricted free agent, but I'm really happy to see Bankai on a team again. Surprisingly, Bankai isn't going to be the main IGL, but is still going to be helping out with the main analysis roles. I think he still has a bit more fuel left in the tank to at least improve Global Esports chances. Overall, this roster definitely feels like there is a bit more to be desired from, especially in the duelist department, but I feel like this roster has potential. RRQ, a team that I don't really have much to say about. I remember them doing quite well during the teams that placed below them, but struggling when they faced a team of another caliber during the 2023 league. They brought in 2 new players, Estrella and Jemkin, both of whom played during Ascension. In particular, Jemkin is an up-and-coming Russian duelist player who played in the Japanese Challenger circuit, and although his tier 2 team didn't make it all the way, he got promoted to tier 1. Sounds familiar? We've seen what something did to PaperX, maybe Jemkin could do the same, with the core of Zephoro, 2GE, Lemimore and Flip. PaperX. Okay, I might be a bit emotional considering they are the team I support, buy merchandise of and attend their watch parties, so I have a lot to say because I want to see them thrive, okay? Right off the bat, Jing is out of the team due to the same reason Neff had to leave. Military service. I am 1000% sure I don't have to explain why this is massively going to hurt PaperX. I'd say he is really the best player in the 2023 core, even better than Something and Devi. He made this extremely clear during Tokyo Masters. Although all eyes were understandably on CGRS, Jing was the one who dragged PaperX to 3rd place. If the roles were switched and Something was in Tokyo and not Jing, I seriously think that PaperX would have placed worse than 3rd place. So, PaperX needed to field a player who could fill his shoes, and they chose Monyet from Global Esports. I'm going to be brutally honest, I was quite stumped by this pick. Sure, Monyet was probably the best player on Global, but I know him more as the controller player than a duelist player. during the 2023 season, and it wasn't like Paper Rex needed another controller player, especially when you have the likes of Mindfreak, who had been glued to the controller role ever since 2022. I was especially skeptical when Paper Rex played with the roster during Africa TV, where although they did get second place, it was not what I'd call an easy path there. After their first map against Sentinels with their new roster, they honestly got brutalized. On the second map, they replaced Monyet with Jing, and immediately there was an obvious change. Afterwards, they would mostly rotate Jing, Mindfreak and Monyet around. For the time being, this worked well, because of, well, Jing. But with Monyet being on the team during 2024, unless they're running double smokes, either Monyet or Mindfreak, one of them is going to have to play another role. And like I said earlier, Mindfreak has been playing like nothing but controller. So I'm curious to see how this will play out. To give them the benefit of the doubt, during Africa TV, this is the first time with the new roster, so they might be saving strats. I was also having this exact same line of thought when they first brought in something despite already having two duelists. And Forsaken transitioned well into the flex player, so I might be proven wrong and Paper Rex might become even better. And believe me, I want to be proven wrong and I want to see Paper Rex become even better. Especially after that, holy sh... I can't even speak. Especially after that traumatizing loss against EG. Oh my god. Oh wow. T1. Boy, do I also have some choice words for this team. Since the Pacific League playoffs, I always thought that T1 were the biggest frauds in the Pacific League. Sure, you could give that title to Gen.G after possibly the biggest fall-off seen in Valorant history, but unlike Gen.G, T1 actually made it to the top 3 somehow and proceeded to place basically dead last in both Masters and Champions. The lights got dangerously bright for them. I guess it's more of the rest of the Pacific League's fault for being so bad, but still, you need to have a strong dislike for at least one team in VCT, and T1 is my pick. And then while I'm editing and looking for footage of T1, they pull this. You're not winning any trophies, buddy. Calm the delusion, man. Anyways, going into 2024, T1 got former Turtle Troop player Rossi, flex player Excurate, and controller player Izu, keeping Carpe and duelist player Saya player. They attended the Africa TV off-season tournament and did better than I expected, beating Liquid and Edward Gaming before losing to Paper Rex, placing 4th. Africa TV definitely made me more impressed with T1, but I'll still be one of their haters unless they prove me wrong. DFM, the truly winless team during the whole of VCT 2023. Even if they brought in Jesus Christ himself to play for them, people would still be unsure if they could win a single game. It doesn't help that they made last-minute changes to their rosters, booting one of their players and two of their coaches in favor of replacements from Crazy Raccoon. Although Crazy Raccoon is one of Japan's top teams, they did fail to make Ascension, which makes me wonder why DFM didn't pick any players from Scars instead, considering they are actually the Japanese team that made it all the way to the grand finals of Ascension. But like with most people, I don't really have high expectations. Who knows? They might pull a crew and prove everybody wrong, or they might continue their 10-game losing streak. Talon Esports. After their very impressive showing at Lock-In, and then their quite frankly abysmal performance during the regular season in comparison, to me, it feels like there was a missing puzzle piece that was needed to reinvigorate Talon. They had their flashes of brilliance, but were unable to go the full way. So, 2024 saw Fox, Sushi Boys and Party Pan getting the boot, and the arrival of IGL Lenny, Governor, Ban, and later on, Surf. In particular, I'm curious to see Lenny play considering he rode the bench during the whole of 2023 with his stint in Team Secret, as well as Governor's first taste of Tier 1. They placed second in ESL's Clash of Nations, which sounds decent, but keep in mind, they were the only Tier 1 team there in attendance, losing to both Full Sense and Team NKT, so off to a bit of a shaky start. I honestly don't know what to expect from Talon, but anything is better than their 2023 run. Team Secret. This team can be categorized as having the two biggest upsets of the Pacific League last year when they gave both Paper Rex and DRX their first loss. You can thank Secret for ruining DRX's flawless record during the regular season. Apart from that, they placed 5th in the overall league standings and made it to the grand finals of the LCQ. Honestly, if Gen.G didn't start off so damn strong, I think that Secret would have won against them during the regular season, and as a result, been up one more win, and end up as the 4th seed back in 2023. Going into 2024, they only made one roster change, kicking Dubstep out and bringing in a duelist player called NDG. They placed 1st in the Asia Pacific Predator League 2024, although to be fair, they were the only tier 1 team in attendance, so it'd be a bit embarrassing if they didn't win. Based on their previous year, I have high hopes for Secret, so I hope they can still be at least top 5 in the league again. DRX. Where can I start with this team? DRX had the best first half of 2023 out of all the Pacific teams. They placed 3rd in lock-in and ended up 1st in the regular league, losing only one game to Team Secret, and they did it all with their original core since 2021. But they had a shaky second half, relative to how they performed, placing 7th to 8th in Masters and 5th to 6th in Champions. It just felt like there were just better teams than them. To be fair, they did lose to NRG and Fnatic in those events respectively, but still, you can tell that DRX is hungry for an international win. So, for the 2024 season, they finally decided to change up the original roster, giving Zest and RB the boot, and bringing in new player Flashback and moving Foxy9 up to the starting 5. When I watched DRX introducing themselves for the 2024 season, they talked about Flashback as this god aimer, and so I was under the impression that he was going to be a duelist player, but he's actually the Sentinels player. I mean, as they say in the video, it seems as if they're building a more aggressive roster without having to compromise on roles, which is smart. Hopefully they can shoot to higher heights with this roster and at most make their grand finals appearance in an international event. Because if a team is going to get Pacific's first international trophy, it's Paper Rex, baby. Gen.G. A whole video needs to be dedicated to the fall off of Gen.G during the 2023 season. They seemed absolutely dominant during their first 4 games and were even getting put on the same level as DRX. But for some reason, they just started losing. And losing. And losing, and losing, and losing. What was once a team that was essentially a shoo-in for top 3, finished 5th after a 5-game loss streak, and placed 3rd in the LCQ. For the 2024 season, they kicked everybody out of the team except for player Meteor, and decided to build the team around him, featuring a mix of tier 1 and tier 2 players, like Munchkin and Texture, and Charon and Lakia respectively. Charon in particular is going to be their main duelist, and he seems to be quite cracked, having gotten a 64% hit shot rate in a map during Convergence, but then again, it is a single map, and plus, they will go on to finish as the lowest tier 1 team in that event, alongside Global, so I'm still unsure if Gen.G can shine as bright as they did in the early matches of 2023. Zeta Division. I really am itching to use this photo to describe Zeta Division, but I feel like it'd be a bit unfair. As somebody who likes to stick with the philosophy of if it ain't broke, don't fix, Zeta is exactly that. After the original roster built in 2021 had their little Cinderella run in Reykjavik 2022 and have stuck to that roster ever since. But unlike similar teams who have stuck with their rosters like with Paper Rex in the early half of 2023 and with DRX, Zeta has been pretty mediocre ever since their Iceland run. To be fair, they did finish 4th in the regular season and did win the LCQ after all, but I feel like change was definitely needed if they wanted better results, and Zeta themselves thought so as well. Keeping the core of Laz, Dap and Sugar Zero, they fielded new players Yuran and Hiroron, the latter of which has participated in tier 2 Japanese events before, but Yuran apparently only has 1 recorded match in VRL, so not that much professional experience on his part. And that's all of the teams. Here's my power ranking in case you're interested. The Pacific region hasn't won any international events yet, and with the new prospects in the 2024 season, like with a new team and roster changes, I'm praying for a win. Preferably Paper Rex, but I wouldn't be devastated if it was some other team. Okay, I might be slightly devastated.